DP-12 double-barreled pump shotgun by FPSRussia.
Hello, my friends, it's FPSRussia again. Today we've got something really cool. This is the DP-12 shotgun. It's a 12-gauge high-capacity shotgun. You've probably heard all that before, but this one's got two barrels. That's right.
It does, honestly. As somebody that owns a DP-12, this thing is an absolute beast.
It's a double-barreled pump shotgun, just like something out of The Simpsons. I never thought I'd see something like this, and then when I did see it, I was pretty skeptical about how well it would work, but I've put about 500 rounds through this thing. Really impressed with it so far, and I really like the fact that everywhere I go with it, when I pull it out of my car, everyone's blown away. They've never seen anything like it before, so we're going to run it through its paces today. Going to do some silly stuff, so let's start the show.
I will say that this thing can absolutely just eat rounds through it. This thing can absolutely just eat shells. I did have one issue with it, and that it started to have some failure to feed issues. But that being said, this is also me having 30-year-old shells that are heavy-duty grade, so they're effectively P-plus shells. Maybe throwing heavy-duty 12-gauge through it consistently over a very short period of time. Maybe not the best call. This thing is an absolute just behemoth. I love it.
All right, so I brought...
that compressed audio is definitely old YouTube. This is a time machine.
Let's back the flaming melons of death. Everybody seemed to like those, so let's get to it.
I can see why this is popular. Very smart, actually, using the fire extinguisher in the middle of that. One, as a target, but two, to kind of address the following, pyrotechnics. I will say, definitely, before you attempt this, even then, do not attempt this at home unless you know what you're doing. And even then, make sure there's plenty of precautions and plenty of stuff on site that you're able to clean something up in. This is classified as potentially dangerous. Cool looking, absolutely. But definitely not something you stroll up one day and say, hey, we're doing this without some kind of planning around. I'm very curious what his red dot is, though. It did look like that said DP-12 on it. I can tell you mine didn't come with a DP-12 sight. Mine didn't come with any sight. I had to go, I think it had iron. No, I had to put the irons on myself, pretty sure. So I'm kind of curious what sight that is.
So I was really hoping that fire extinguisher was going to help put out this fire, but
no,
that's not going to happen.
Nothing doing.
I really like making a big mess out here, getting a big fire started, and nothing better to get you started off in this DP-12. Let's move along. I got some more cool stuff. So you might have seen that internet going around the video of some jackasses lighting off acetylene barrels with sticks. That seems stupid, but shooting them with a 12-gauge, that seems fun.
Nice.
Incoming!
Very real concern in dealing with anything that can have momentum transfer like that. What goes up will always come down. Whether it be a round, whether it be a barrel, whether it be a flying object, whether anything. If it's up in the air, eventually gravity will counteract the force that it's going up with and will just bring it down and also compound on the force coming down. So it's not like it just, we'll just fall and just go plap. No, because as it's falling, it is gaining momentum as it is falling, as gravity is consistently acting upon it. So thus it will gain velocity as it heads down. Very scientific, I know. But in general, if it's up, be concerned.
So we might have put a little bit too much acetylene in those. Let's see if we can change the mixture up just a little bit.
I also want to bring up really quick, look where his finger is. His finger's not on the trigger, which people have a consistent issue with having their booger finger on the trigger, right? They consistently do. There's the rules, right? The rules where know what you're pointing at and what's behind it. No, I always forget the order that these go in, so bear with me. I apologize. Don't ever have your finger on the trigger unless you're prepared to actually pull that trigger. A number of these things, and even a lot of it just comes down to common sense. If you're not willing to fire it, right? why are you having your finger on the trigger? Which, pointing out, this is exemplary behavior and more of what modern YouTube needs. More modern YouTube needs this. Less really stupid YouTube shorts where people are being incredibly unsafe.
Okay, so we changed the mixture up just a little bit. See how this goes.
Yeah, added it to it. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that personally. I know that if your shot is on target, that's fine. He also is clearly, and for the YouTube manual viewers, since another could probably look through this is clearly a secluded area. This is clearly not a public area. This is being done in the safe confines of this area. What I can say is I do take a little bit of reservation with pointing up in the air at that, even if I was the best shot in the world, which I'm not. Honestly, little outside my the potential for stuff to go wrong is just too high for me personally. I mean, I guess you could say that it looks like that's buckshot. You know, it's not a slug, it's buckshot, so it's the force is dispersed amongst all the pellets, and eventually, you know, they're just gonna fall around somewhere. If he missed, I don't know, something that I personally wouldn't do. I would classify that as, unless you're an expert in that field or a very select group of people, i.e. Marines, because you guys have to answer to your senior officers, I wouldn't do it personally.
These are really cool. I really like launching these barrels. We're going to be launching a lot more barrels. So I think next time we get like an AK-47, 100-round magazine, incendiary ammunition, like 50 barrels. This is a cool idea. I'm glad those... I don't know where those guys were in the world, but thanks to them for risking their lives, lighting them with sticks to give us this cool idea.
Yeah.
Let's move along. Okay, so we got something a little bit experimental here. Downrange, we've got the world's most dangerous wind chime. And in here, I've got kind of a mixture of ammunition. I've got some tracing incendiary slugs. I've got some dragon's breath. I've got some buckshot. The goal is to make a nice fiery mess. So let's see if it works.
Okay, I don't know. I was about to say, you couldn't pay me to do this. Like, there'd have to be some measures in place. Me personally, I would never do this. I mean, maybe if there was enough of a yeah, no, this is a safe environment, there's nobody around for 500 feet and something like that. Maybe, well, I guess I don't even say 500 yards at that point, triple that distance. Like, God, there's so much that could go wrong.
Works. This should be interesting.
For someone that is unfamiliar with this platform, I wanted to kind of take a second because I actually do have experience with this platform. So underneath here, underneath this this integrated stock, right, you have two tubes. And you put the shells in, and you can actually see the shells through these little holes, right? I think it's, 7 per tube, something like that. I can't remember what the max capacity is, but it is a double-barreled shotgun. You just end up loading both tubes in advance. And so what happens is you'll pull back the grip, you'll pull back the forward, which doubles as the I don't remember the name for it. The pump. There we go. The pump pulls back, slide it back forward. The pump is now brings those rounds into the chamber. And then you fire twice. You go 1, 2. There's a little lever here in front of the trigger guard that you have to pull down, and that unlocks the pump. So then you bring it back, and then you can put it forward again to load the next two. So pulling it back will take it from reserves. Pushing it forward will load it into the chamber, and then you have 2 to fire. There have been situations where I have had a round that has failed to fire properly, and in my honest experience at that point, it's just not worth dealing with it in the chamber. I'm pretty sure there's a way that you potentially try to double fire. So, for example, if you have right round, left round, and you get your right round that fires, but your left round doesn't, I'm sure that you could probably just continue to pull the trigger, try and get that, in my opinion. If ammo refuses to detonate, specifically 30-year-old heavy grade, heavy duty 12 gauge, just pull it back again. Just pull it back, eject it out, slot the next 2 in. In my experience personally.
So I'm going to call that mission accomplished. We had some of them shoot over there, some of them shoot 50 yards that way, and one went way back over there, so
Yeah.
I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so one more thing. I've got some very powerful incendiary ammunition in here. It was pretty hard to find. 12 gauge incendiary is amazing. I'm gonna show you what it looks like against this steel over here. Then I think we can step things up a little more, but check this out.
That was amazing. There we go.
So you see you get a big flash every single time. All of that material's burning up on impact. Things get very hot. Let's heat them up a lot. Okay, so we went down the range, added a few spray paint cans, got a few fire extinguishers in there. Let's heat things up.
I love it because this ends up being a, like, somebody asks, well, Kip, what if I want to do this at the range? And it just turns into, like, it's this this back and forth about safety and stuff. I don't know. I would have never considered a lot of this. I see why early YouTube, this was incredibly popular. I can totally see it. It's kind of a relic of its time, honestly. But, like, God, I would have to trust the people I was going with to even attempt something like this, or I would have to be, as I said, within a, like, there's nobody 500 yards around me and I have multiple safeguards in place, fire extinguisher, med kits, etc., to even think about trying to attempt some of this. The window's just gone. Yeah, actually, that brings up a good point. Realistically, this brings up a cool point, because if you know which barrel fires first, you could actually do something hypothetically cool where you have something like a slug followed by a dragon's breath incendiary or whatever. So you, say, punch through a target, like a wooden target, and then the second one will ignite whatever binary is behind it, right? You could hypothetically do something like that, and that could be super cool. I could see that being really popular.
Hopefully that puts our fire out. Doesn't seem to be working. So we had a lot of fun today. A double-barreled 12 gauge has got to be one of the coolest things I've ever picked up. Everywhere I go with this thing, when I pull it out, everybody wants to take a look at it, wants to see what's going on. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up down below. And as always, have a nice day.
I'm very curious if that's copyrighted or not, because I feel that can go south really quick. It's YouTube, old YouTube versus new YouTube. Obviously, copyright's kind of been around for a while on YouTube. Thanks, Metallica. But I digress. This was actually super cool. I'm very curious to see some of the other videos. I have looked at a couple others that I've been wanting to watch. However, I will probably, because of how YouTube, one, comes really hard down on firearm content. Two, apparently FPSRussia YouTube does generally come down pretty hard on as well. I might have to censor things, might have to do a number of things with it. So just as a heads up. But if you like this, definitely let me know. I'm not opposed to doing more of this. I like doing this, especially a platform which not only do I own, locked up, safe environment, etc., right? But I own, but I also have genuinely enjoyed. I always liken it to the Commando from Halo Infinite, or, you know, it's just the Starship Troopers SG, right? Something like that. It's got that futuristic vibe to it, and I very much do like the DP-12. As I said, I don't know if it's necessarily structural or wear and tear in regards to my feed issues, or if it's because I'm using heavy-duty slugs that are, or not slugs, heavy-duty shells that are 30 years old. It could be a number of those things. But it's very interesting also to consider as well. You look at things like this on YouTube and you say, you know, Wes, while this is cool, how would you do this safely? How could you do this safely? This is a, you know, this, for example, his finger not being on the trigger, very good example of trigger discipline, not being, you know, an idiot, which is unfortunately seems par for the course on YouTube Shorts. But I digress with that. What are your thoughts on this? Is there a specific something that you'd like to recommend? Do you have experience with the DP-12 shotgun? What are your thoughts and experiences on it if so. And let me know all that in the comments section. Thank you everyone for watching. I definitely do appreciate it. I'll see you all in the next one.